Before we start this video off, I would like to apologize. I am one very broke guy who can't afford a very proper microphone. So I'm using the Xbox One headset with the PC. I have decided that for the purposes of this video, I am going to go audio only. There is not going to be pictures on the screen. There is just going to be the sound of my voice and any background noises that unfortunately the microphone picks up, whether that be me or just residual sound. It sounds pretty quiet where I'm recording, but unfortunately there's always going to be some sort of residual sound. Anywho, I wanted to go over my idea that I had in my Resident Evil 7 rant, in which I talked about my version of a Resident Evil game. And I figured I would go audio only because I actually do want you guys to visualize some of these things. And I imagine that if I'm on the screen or there's a photo on the screen, you aren't going to imagine anything. And so this is audio only. I warn you again, if you don't want to just listen to the sound of my voice, click off the video. But for now, I really do hope you stay here because I have actually done a lot of little digging around and deciding what I would talk to you guys about. So let's start off with just the idea. If I were going to make a Resident Evil game, obviously I wouldn't make it a first-person game. But because Resident Evil 7 is a first-person game, or supposedly going to be a first-person game, I will talk about my idea for a first-person Resident Evil game. Anyone who's played Umbrella Chronicles, Darkside Chronicles, Gun Survivor, or Dead Aim will have an idea of what I'm going for when it comes down to a first-person Resident Evil game. Although my tone is going to be different, it is going to be scary, and hopefully with the words I bring to you, you'll get a little bit freaked out, just with your own imagination. So let's start off real quick. Also, I don't know if you'll hear I have my piercings in. I hope those don't clang too much during the video. Let's start off with just the concept. Alright, so it is a first-person Resident Evil. First off, there would be no HUD. No HUD whatsoever. You're not going to have any objective markers. You're not going to have anything. You'll have the ability to open up your menu. You'll have your inventory. You'll have your journal. And that's it. Your inventory would consist of a return of the classic Resident Evil 4 attach case, or however you pronounce it. I pronounce it attach case. You'd be able to choose what weapons, ammo, and healing items go into the attach case. Along the edges of your inventory screen outside the attach case would be things like key items and things like batteries for your flashlight, or your ink ribbons for your save, because I would bring back ink ribbons because I'm an asshole. Your journal would consist of things like your map, your objective, and key items you have collected. So for instance, you find a key, it'll be over in your journal, not over in your inventory where your items are. As for controls, you can grab a controller near you if you want to. I don't have one in my hand at the moment, but you can grab a Xbox One or a PS4 controller, and here's how the controls would be. Personally though, I would I would bring back something that has been lost in gaming, and that is customizable control schemes. When I say customizable control schemes, I don't just mean, oh, you can change the schemes. No, I mean you can pick what fucking button you want to do what. Anybody that ever played like Half-Life 2 or maybe, old hack and slash games like Devil May Cry 3, you get to choose what button does what. But I'm going to give you my control scheme. First and foremost, we'll start with the sticks. Left stick moves, you know this. Clicking the left stick will make you run. The game would be slower. You're not going to be moving at a brisk pace. You're going to be walking around. When you click the stick, you will run. The right stick is for your looking, and if you click it, you will crouch. Your X or A button, if you're on the Xbox One, your X or A button would be your confirm button. This is what you use to interact with, pick up objects, examine things, pick up notes. X and A are confirm. Your square or X button, the blue X button for Xbox One, would be your reload, and I believe you would be able to have a secondary function holding it to maybe reload your flashlight with batteries, something like that. I know I'm mentioning batteries because I would want there to be a flashlight, and I would want there to be a mechanic of light and dark, but I wouldn't be a dick like in Outlast and make your batteries last like a minute. Your batteries will last a little longer than that, but you're not going to know, because it would go in the realms of anyone who's played Fear. Your flashlight's super bright when it's got fresh batteries, and it slowly dims as it gets drained, and when it goes out, you're like, oh, I need fresh batteries. Your circle button would be for your items, your quick items. For instance, if you want to use an herb or a first aid spray, you would use that button to heal yourself. Your triangle or your Y button would be your inventory. That's all it's for. You press the button, you go to your inventory. The D-pad would be for your weapons quick selects. So you could put a gun over there, a shotgun, a rifle, those sorts of things. Your right trigger, of course, is for shooting, and you can blind fire, or you can use the left trigger to aim and shoot. I would like to have iron sights. It makes me happy when I have iron sights. Your R1 button would be for your, I think, throw items, whether it be Molotovs or pipe bombs or whatever. And your L1 button would be for your melee, which you would be able to find melee weapons in my Resident Evil. You would start off with just a combat knife like every Resident Evil does, and you could find, steel pipes, machetes, hatchets, I don't know, battle axes, something. Anywho, that's the basic gist of the controls, and I want you guys to imagine a toned down, more slow type of methodical game. Because, of course, I'm trying to juxtapose, what Resident Evil 7 is doing, juxtapose the insane action that we've had, but I also want to try and outdo Resident Evil 7 with just my words. So you're thinking slow. When I say you're moving around with a stick and you click to sprint, imagine, yeah, you're walking around the environment, and when you do click the stick, you will sprint. Not too terribly fast, but fast enough to escape an attacker or put distance between you and an enemy. So you have the controls down. I've told you about the inventory. Now I'm going to paint the picture for you. All right, this is the exact spot where we're going to be starting. I'm going to be talking about my Resident Evil. And again, I'm just going to talk, and I would like for you to imagine. If you don't take time to imagine, then yes, some of this is going to be lost on you. So, first and foremost, all right, no HUD. All right, we ready? You've just loaded a save file. You're looking at a menu screen. It has different images flashing, telling you the history of Resident Evil. Along the bottom of the screen is it's giving you helpful tips and hints about how to deal with different things. Explore the environment. Molotovs set other things on fire besides enemies, including you. All right. As the game gets closer to loading up, you start hearing a very soulful, very comforting piano music. You're inside of a save room. When the game pops up, you're looking at a typewriter. It's got a button prompt asking you if you would like to save. Obviously, you don't want to save because you just loaded. Beside the typewriter is an item box, because I would bring those back too. You go over and you access the item box. Inside of the item box are a few various items, and you can see that there is, of course, the item box, which doesn't have a grid-like method. It's just straight items, the way all item boxes are. But beside the item box's inventory is your inventory, and you can drag and drop items and then organize them as you please. You have helpful information on the item box item locations that will tell you how many blocks in the grid the item will take up, so that you don't drag and drop and it's like, oh, you can't put that in your inventory. It lets you know if there's space or not. In your inventory, you have a revolver and you have a shotgun, double barrel. You have a few shells and a few bullets for each of them. As you progress through the game, you will find different types of handguns, shotguns, rifles, even machine guns. And instead of finding, boxes of ammunition, you will realistically find magazines. You will find revolver rounds in a cylinder container. You will find shotgun shells strewn about. I don't want you to find a box of bullets and then wonder how the bullets got loaded into a magazine and then loaded into your gun. You just find magazines. Anywho, you take your ink ribbons and you put them back in the item box, and you exit the item box. You're in a dark room. It's illuminated by one small lamp over near a bed. It looks like you're in a cabin. The walls are made of wood. There's one window. You can see outside into a dark forest. You can barely make out silhouettes moving in the darkness. You turn around towards the door and you walk towards it. Now, at this point, you can choose whether it's got the old Resident Evil style animation or not, but in me, I want it to always be in first person. I want it to always be in gameplay. You open the door, you close the door behind you, it's all pure gameplay. I didn't mention this before, there would be no cutscenes. Everything always happens in real time, kind of like a Half-Life game. You'll have a cutscene at the beginning and the end of the game, and that's about it. Anywho, You're inside of what appears to be an old log cabin. There are pillars, various doors. You can see a few dark windows. There's a fireplace in the center that's lit. You can see the light cascading off of the flames. You can hear the crackling of the fire. And you can see the light illuminating parts of the cabin. There is electricity, of course, because one small lamp lit the other part of the cabin, but it seems like all the lights are turned off in here. You can choose to roam around and turn the lights on if you wish, but that would be up to you as a player. You wander around a little bit and locate the front door of the main hall of the cabin. You go to interact with it, and it says that you need a crest to open the door. You don't have a crest in your inventory. You roam around, and most of the other doors are either locked or broken. You finally work your way to the other side of the cabin opposite of the room you were in, and the door is unlocked. You open it, you go through the door, and you are now inside of a dark hallway. To your left are walls and doors. To your right are windows. You hear outside the shuffling and moaning of the undead, and you begin to walk forward. As you walk forward, light blinds you and illuminates the hallway. Thunder strikes. You hear the wails of the undead getting louder as rain begins to hit the ceiling of the cabin. Now all you hear, of course, is the rain thudding against the cabin and the wails of the undead outside. You walk down the hallway, and to your left is a door. You go to open it, and the lock is broken. You continue down the dark hallway when lightning strikes again and illuminates the hallway once more. You see a door at the end of the hallway, and you go towards it. You open up the door, and you enter the room. It's a bathroom. You can see a sink, a toilet, and there's a tub at the end. It has a leg and an arm hanging out of it, and it's filled with water that is slowly pooling in the floor because the faucet is still on. You walk over to the sink, you open up the medicine cabinet, and you grab some painkillers. You go over to examine the bathtub with the body sitting in it, bloody water pooling over the edge of the tub. You look at the sink and interact with it. You turn the faucet off. You look and you see that there is a chain hanging out of the tub that no doubt connects to the stopper. You decide to unplug the stopper and drain the tub. As the tub drains, the body becomes easier to distinguish. It is an adult male. His face has been ripped into, his chest torn open. He is wearing a tattered outfit. You decide to examine the body. On the body, you find a key. You're not exactly sure where the key goes yet, but it's a key. You stop examining the body. You head towards the door to exit the bathroom, and you take one last moment to look back at the body lying in the tub. You turn around and you go through the door. You're in the same hallway you were in before. This time the doors and the walls are to your right and the windows are to your left. You can hear something's in the hallway. Lightning flashes and you see just a glimpse of someone or something standing in the hallway. You hear it moan. It turns, and you can see its white milky eyes focus on you. You can hear it as it starts to shuffle towards you. You press up on the D-pad to pull out your pistol, or your revolver, my bad. You aim and you shoot. You blow off part of its head, but it's not dead yet. You aim, you shoot again, and you finally kill it. It falls down to the ground, making a familiar sound of rotting flesh and tattered clothing smacking the floor. You walk over to examine its body. It has no items. You go to exit the room, or the hallway, and that is when you hear glass break behind you. You turn around and immediately you are pounced upon by a Cerberus. It has heard the gunshots. In first person, you fend it off, stabbing at it with your knife frantically as it bites towards your face, trying to take a piece of you. You keep stabbing at it, and it grabs a hold of your arm and tears into it. You finally shove it off of you. You get back to your feet, and you pull your shotgun out. You take aim and you blast, blowing the beast apart. You're injured. Your controller vibrates with a familiar heartbeat sensation. The corners of your screen are red, and your vision is blurry. You quickly turn around and exit the hallway. You're in the main hall of the cabin again, and you're injured. You hold the circle button, and in first person you see your character begin wrapping a green-stained cloth around their arm where they were bit. The heartbeat sensation slowly fades. Your vision returns to normal, and the corners of your screen are no longer red. Your character sighs in relief. You begin exploring the main hall of the cabin again, trying different doors to see if the key works. You finally find a door that the key does work in. Once you've unlocked the door, you discard the key automatically. The door you opened creaks as you go through it. There are stairs before you. They lead down. It's dark. Darker than before. You head down the stairs. When you reach the bottom of the steps, you can hear the sound of your feet hitting cold stone. This part of the cabin looks different. The walls are made of brick, stone brick. It's dark, but on each side you can see candles illuminating the darkness. The sounds of the infected's wails above are muffled. The sounds of the rain is muffled. All you hear is the sound of your own character breathing. You begin to advance down the dark, long hallway as you begin to hear crying. You advance towards a door on your right where the crying is coming from. You reach down to grab the handle, and it's locked. As you jiggle the handle, the crying stops. You turn to continue down the hallway. As you continue down the hallway, the crying begins again behind you. You continue down the hallway to a door on your left. This door is unlocked. You open it and enter a room. The room has a pillar in the middle of it, with a safe and a numerical keypad on top of it. On the walls of the room are paintings depicting different acts of violence, murder, suicide, torture, and execution. You see paintings such as 4 men being hanged, 1 man cutting his wrists. You see a group of men stabbing another person. The paintings disturb you, and you don't understand their purpose. But you notice that in each painting there are different numbers of people. You walk towards the far end of the room where there's a note, a bloody, stained note. It explains to you, in a macabre story, what the paintings mean. You soon deduce that each of the paintings are mentioned in a certain order, and you discover that if you will take the paintings in that order, and you will count the number of individuals in each painting, you will find the code to the safe. You've just completed a puzzle in Brett Hicks's Resident Evil. You walk towards the safe, and you enter the numerical code. You open the safe, and there's a key. You exit the room back into the dark hallway. There's a shambler in the hallway. You take your shotgun and you blast him. He just explodes apart. You continue down the hallway where the crying had emitted from, and you use the key in the door. As you turn the knob, the crying stops again. You open the door and enter. The room is covered in torture devices. There are strange instruments hanging on the walls. There's a bloody chair sitting in the corner with spikes in the seat in the back. There are shackles on the chair. The room is illuminated by faint candlelight. And at the far end of the room you can see a very large, steel, Iron Maiden-like contraption. I realize I said steel and iron. Shut up, I'm painting a picture for you. You don't see anyone in the room, but you do see the Iron Maiden. It's large and ominous, illuminated by the candlelight. You approach the Iron Maiden. You go to interact with the Iron Maiden, when suddenly it cracks open just enough for a long, scrawny arm to grab a hold of you by the throat. Your character is startled. It pulls you closer, just enough for you to see one white, milky, angry eye staring at you. You can barely make out the image of a woman's face, contorted and twisted in hatred and anger, staring at you. It begins choking you. You struggle. You try everything you can, every button to get loose, and it finally throws you across the room before closing the Iron Maiden back. You're not injured. You haven't taken damage. But there's something up with that Iron Maiden, clearly. You pull your revolver out. You reload it. You check to make sure your shotgun's loaded. You hit the circle button a few times to make sure you didn't take any damage. You approach the Iron Maiden again. This time it swings open fully. Before you, you see a scrawny, scraggly, but quite tall, female creature shrouded in a tarred cloak. She shrieks at you. You can see that in her other hand she is holding a very strange dagger, and she swipes at you. Music begins playing. Frantic piano music. You realize you are in a boss fight. She tries to approach you and you back up, pulling your revolver and firing at her several times. She doesn't seem fazed by the ammunition. She grabs you, tries to swipe at you with the knife, and then throws you across the room. You regain your bearings and pull the shotgun out, thinking it may do more damage. You blast her. She recoils, but she does not stop advancing. You blast her again and go to reload your shotgun. She picks you up and holds you above her, and you struggle before she tries to plunge the knife into you. She gets frustrated and throws you across the room again. Your shotgun's reloaded. You blast her 2 more times. You're out of shotgun ammo. You pull the revolver out, and you fire at her some more. She gets closer and grabs you again. You struggle. She holds the knife up. You break free just in time. You shoot her a few more times. She seems very woozy at this point. She seems delirious. She tries to advance on you, and you fire at her some more. She shrieks again as she falls down to her knees. She briefly looks up at you, her eye glaring upon you. A face that was once contorted in pain and agony seems to be relieved. The creature falls over dead. You go to examine her body. You find a tattered note. The note is to her mother. It tells her mother that she's sorry. She should have listened. She should have never come out to this place. She's so sorry. You stow the note in your journal. You examine the body further, and you take the strange dagger. You don't know what to use it for yet. You examine the room, and you see that in the Iron Maiden's back is a slit. You take the dagger, and you slide it into the slit. You can feel it, as if activating a locking mechanism. You turn the dagger, and you hear a wall on the far side of the dark room slide open. Inside the room, you see a dirty, soiled, bloody bed. You see notes scattered along a small table. And you see a familiar type of crest sitting on the table. You pick up the crest, and you see that it has the mark of a wolf on it. You put it into your inventory. You prepare to leave the room. One more time you look down at this horrible, disheveled creature. Some part of you feels guilty for attacking it. You exit the room, and begin your way back down the hallway towards the stairs. As you walk, you hear a rusty closing sound, and you hear crying resume. If you return to try to go through the door again, the lock is broken. The door will not open. You head back towards the stairs to return to the top part of the cabin. You head towards the front of the cabin, and you use the crest in the door. The locking mechanism opens. You open the door and exit the cabin. You are looking now at a pathway leading away from the cabin. Dark woods on each side, and the rain falling. Lightning strikes. Thunder crashes. You have just completed Brett Hicks's Resident Evil 7 demo. Now that was me giving you guys an idea, a taste of what I would do if I wanted to get people interested in a game. If I wanted people to be fucking scared, if I wanted people to explore, to fight monsters. There were just 2 zombies, but I think that would be just enough. 2 zombies and a single boss. Now, I don't know if you've watched this entire video, or listened to this entire video, but I can tell you right now, you tell me, what sounds like it would be more fucking fun? What sounds like it would be more enjoyable? Why can't I get a fucking job making video games? I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that what I described to you was entertaining. I hope that maybe you have an idea of why I'm so disappointed with Capcom at this point. Because it seems like they do not know how to make a game that is even remotely in the beginning ballpark of being interesting anymore. I did take some time to come up with this idea in my head, just a single night of thinking, and I discovered what to talk about and how to go about talking about it so that it would seem interesting to you. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know how you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this video. And, you know, the best way to let me know is not only by commenting, but by leaving a like. And I just keep hammering at Resident Evil 7 because I want Resident Evil 7 to be good. I want it to be entertaining. I want it to be scary. But I don't want it to go so far away from Resident Evil that it's not Resident Evil anymore. I don't have any faith in Capcom, but we'll see what they do as they continue to release information to us, and we'll see. But I want to know if you thought this sounded interesting. I want to know if you enjoyed hearing me talk about my version of Resident Evil, even though I got a little tongue-tied and fucked up a few times. Apologies. But thank you for listening, watching, whatever. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I do hope you all take care.